So I just wanted to say I love pigeons.
They're pretty useless birds. I don't know what they do.
I hate them. Oh, I'm afraid of pigeons.
I've heard the funny conspiracies where like they're like by the government, you know, try and spy on us.
So if I said pigeon racing, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Pigeon racing. I feel like they have like numbers on them, like jerseys.
Pigeons on leashes, that would be.
So I don't know what to think about pigeon racing. I mean, I suspect that there's probably a very niche mania dedicated to it. Like a lot of things that seem like they're from the past. You know?
They really are the racehorse of the sky. That's what they are.
These pigeons? Racehorses? I don't see how these little street survivors have a desire to race. I do appreciate their tenacity. Could their coy demeanor be protecting a hidden racing rocket? Seems impossible to believe at first glance. I want to know more. What is this elusive pigeon racing? Known about and popular in so many other parts of the world? How can this hobby even possibly coexist with us in a bustling metropolitan city? Bruce Bideau is a pigeon fancier. His personal homemade loft, housing his flock or team of pigeons, sits behind his family home just outside the city of Toronto. As a pigeon fancier, it means Bruce not only trains his pigeons for annual races, but he breeds them too. Pigeons, being birds that choose a partner and mate for life, make nests in their own individual built-in pigeon apartments. These hidden pigeon families, breeding and growing, all here in this one unassuming loft in a backyard of suburbia. What is a pigeon race?
How a race is determined. So in a horse race, all the horses leave the same gate, they all run the same track, and they all cross the same finish line. In pigeon racing, all the birds leave the same truck at the very same time, but every bird in that truck, let's say there's 1,500 of them, they're all racing to their own individual lofts. Now, most people ship 10 to 20 birds to a race, so there might be 100 lofts waiting for the birds to come home. Only my birds will come here, and everybody else's birds go to their loft.
There must be a method to Bruce's training. How can a bird mixed in with thousands of other birds navigate itself in an unfamiliar location back to the loft where they call home? Where do you fly home, street pigeon?
I've won champion bird in Canada probably about 4 times. I've won champion fancier in Canada twice. I love these guys as much as you love your dog or your cat.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. I buy the parents because I think this male and this female genetically will produce a champion. And then I mate them together. They lay 2 eggs. Those eggs hatch. I have little babies. I put my named life bands on them. I take care of them. I protect them. I feed them. I train them. Like, they're my babies. And so any success that I have, it's because of them. And any failure that they have, it's because of me. Do you see any like this in the street? See, they're not afraid of me. So this is a little girl. She's just over a year old. And as you can see, they don't look like a street pigeon. Most street pigeons, their eyes are a very strong, beady yellow looking, whereas these ones that's actually called a pearl eye because it's like gray. And they're just, I don't know, they're just very refined and very well taken care of.
Really beautiful.
So there's one misconception. Racing pigeons or homing pigeons, you can swap that out. You cannot train them to come home. It's instinctive. It's like migratory geese. They just know how to do it.
Bruce is the president of Canada's largest racing pigeon club, Canada's Up North Combine. This combine houses a group of regional pigeon clubs in 10 districts of Ontario.
Every one of them is capable of being a champion. So the whole sport, and I don't know of any other sport, where everything's between the ears. So if you beat your competition, it's because you outthought them and you outworked them. Not because they're taller, faster, richer,
The Combine participates annually in what's called a multi-loft race, where come race day, every pigeon, once the doors to the truck open, begins its flight home, using their own unique homing instinct to guide them back to the very loft where they first were hatched.
So we race on Saturdays, unless it's going to be raining, then we'll push the race to Sunday. If it's still raining, the birds are just brought back. We don't race in inclement weather. They have to be given about a 80 to 90% chance of making it home on the day. If I open this up, put the landing board down, they'll all leave, and they don't have to come back if they don't want to, but they'll all come back. Right? If they didn't like it here, they just don't come back.
To many in the pigeon racing world, there is a consensus that the sport is in a decline, many wondering if it has the longevity to survive future generations. More people living in apartments over homes with a yard is one major contributor to the diminishing pigeon fanciers of the GTA. But this is a trend unfortunately being felt overseas as well, where pigeon racing is undoubtedly more popular. Where Canada has 5,000 pigeon racers competing, the UK alone has 42,000. Sometimes, as with anything, a fresh set of eyes can rewire you.
I'm Dan, I'm in my 30s.
Decades younger than the other fanciers in his pigeon racing club, Dan Soanes Brown is the man behind the pigeon, behind the YouTube channel from the UK, How to Train Your Pigeon.
Sun was shining, so I thought I'd spend a bit of time outside and test the slow motion on one of my...
Originally made to chronicle his journey as a novice fancier and racer, the interest of his 10-minute videos, covering everything from a race release or liberation to maintaining a clean and tidy home for his flock, has managed to engage an audience beyond the traditional fancier. Sitting in front of his own backyard pigeon loft, miles away from Toronto, in Nottinghamshire, England, a millennial middleman, connecting the old world of pigeon racing to the new world online.
I debated it quite a bit. Why racing pigeons? Like, I've no interest in knitting. I've no interest in lots of things. With racing pigeons, I don't know. None of my family do it. None of my friends do it. But in the back of my mind, I still kept looking at it, and occasionally I'd Google it and have a look and have a read. And then eventually, I think after COVID, that's when I decided I want to be outside more. I hate gardening, so I thought, right, well, now's the time to do the racing pigeons. And so I think I just built my first loft and got the birds, and then told my wife that they were for the kids. Maybe justified it that way. It's one of the few sports that you get better at the older you are. So people are in their 70s, 60s and 70s. They've got 40 or 50 or 60 years of knowledge, and then they've got pensions and loads of free time. So you really struggle to beat them, you know. They've got the knowledge, the experience, and all that time. It's a real challenge to beat the old boys, and I kind of like that. I like the fact that you can't just waltz in, train really hard for a few years, and then be the best. There's got to be something in pigeon racing to make people stay at it for 50 or 60 years.
Come on, go home.
It might not be known here in Toronto, or even in a small county of England, but the epicenter of pigeon racing, where top fanciers like Bruce get their feed and best breeders, is Belgium. With 18,000 members in the Pigeon Fancier Federation, Belgium has long been the capital for pigeon racing, dating back to World War II. Even during the war, pigeons have been racing, carrying messages from one army command post to another. There were 32 pigeons in Canada honored with medals recognizing the highest decorations of valor. Yet the street pigeon shares an internationally felt stigma. The term rats with wings gained notoriety from a 1980s Woody Allen film. Much of this can be left in the past century. Once held in high respect as an animal valued for their efforts in war, now reduced to being walked over and looked past. Erica Wilson is the owner of The Pigeon Nest, a rescue for domesticated pigeons in the city of Sarnia, Ontario. Her facility takes in lost racing pigeons and other domesticated pigeons and works to rehab them back for adoption.
And racing pigeons can look a lot like the feral pigeons or wedding release doves, which are the white ones that are actually just pigeons. And they are released, the racers are released into the wild to do their sports or activities, which is not really a sport. They call it racing, but it's not. It's taking a bird and mixing it with the family and giving them lovey feelings and then ripping them away from the family and taking them really, really, really far away and releasing them and them stressing and coming home to be with their family.
Erica has managed to create a welcoming living space for those lost birds, as she says, providing these racing pigeons a retirement. Nurturing them in a loft made within her own home, these domesticated pigeons are offered space to build new relationships.
They get lost or injured or mix in with the crowds, or they get attacked by hawks because they haven't been raised in a flock that's used to living on the streets. You know, these are fancy birds that lived in lofts. They eat good quality seed and then they go out into the wild and they don't know how to survive because that's not what they were raised with. That's not their genetics either. And they don't have the robust immune system that the feral pigeons do. So they get sick and then we get them.
The misunderstanding of the pigeon has affected the current bylaws made in the city, reinforcing the clouded public perception of the pigeon in general.
There is a lot of speak about how pigeons are dirty and they can give us illnesses and stuff like that, but they actually cannot transfer it to us because their body temperatures are much, much warmer than ours. It's an unfortunate myth when a lot of people see pigeons and think, I'm going to get sick, and you're not.
Deemed a nuisance and a pest, the City of Toronto has implemented policies without educated support from any member of the pigeon community, using methods such as public feeding bans and sterilization. Another concerning law for Erica that hasn't been addressed is that in some parts of Ontario, it is actually legal to cull or kill a feral pigeon.
When I have tried to speak to the City of Toronto about this, about when the whole feeding ban came in, I was speaking in the meetings about finding more ethical ways of eliminating pigeons because starving them is not ethical. And they rely on us 100%.
Some bylaws in Ontario have made decisions on how many pigeons one person can own and in what season. In some municipalities, even going so far as banning the ownership of pigeons altogether.
They bring in bylaws where you're only allowed to maybe, well, if you're lucky, you're only allowed to keep so many. They'll just put in a ban saying there's a ban on pigeons, you have 30 days to get rid of them.
So it's something like you can have 50 in the summer, but then it's like 20 or 30 in the winter. So they're already encouraging, now the government is now encouraging this sort of, well, we assume you're either going to rehome some of them or some of them are going to get lost. But there's also a chance that if they have over that amount, what are they going to do with the excess? What's going to happen? And that is a concern for me.
When asked about this issue, the councillor for the City of Toronto did respond, however, did not have time to sit for an interview. Reaching out to Toronto Animal Services to discuss further, we were told that the bylaw in place reflected their opinion that many racing pigeons ended up as abandoned, contributing to the overpopulation issue in Toronto. And when asked about an interview, they didn't reply, yet referred us to speak with Erica. Interesting that Animal Services for the City of Toronto would be outsourcing to someone who doesn't hold a government role.
My glory days, my best memories were flying with my mom and dad. Right. Now, my father and I 40 years ago took a very progressive movement, and we actually approached the politicians and got a bylaw in Whitby allowing us to keep pigeons. And so that bylaw has been on the books for about 40 years.
Pigeon owners like Bruce and Erica fight against these ill-informed bylaws for one reason and one reason alone: their love of pigeons.
I don't want to sound all like doomsday and stuff, but when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to go, I'm really glad I like that meme, right? You're not going to be, oh, I'm so glad I got those likes on whatever it was. They're not going to be the things that you remember. And that's why I don't mind doing the pigeons. because I'll be out there, I'll drive, I'll train them, I'll go to different places. And yes, I have to film, and I do end up spending probably more time on the computer because I'm editing videos, but I try and get the kids out off the computer, off the screens. If they're not playing football, they're helping with the birds, helping me train them. We're just doing something that's not screen time.
What makes this the most perfect hobby is you can be fairly successful spending an hour a day, and you can be successful spending 10 hours a day. It's up to you how much time you want to spend here. How many retired people have nothing to do? Right? I could be out here 10 hours a day. I'm retired now. I retired 5 years ago. I retired at 59. I can be out here 10 hours a day with them. And there's always something to do. There's always something for me to learn. The methods that I use change every year. I refine my program. I refine my breeding. I refine my feeding. Everything is incrementally improved every year, every year, every year.
I'd like to think that the more people come out and speak about this stuff, the more we can show them, you know, the myths about birds, you know, being unhealthy or being a danger, all this stuff that's just completely untrue. How super smart they are, how very affectionate they are, how they are domestic, how they love living in homes, lounging on couches and like playing with things. Like if we can get more people to see them, they're quiet, they're better for apartments than parrots. Like for people who want birds, it's like choose a pigeon because they don't destroy all of your furniture. They're extremely affectionate. They're not super loud, you know, and they can handle, you know, being in a domestic environment. They don't pull out their feathers, you know, they're actually very hardy. There's just so many pros to them. It's just that a lot of people don't know. And there's so much misinformation about them. I mean, I think of my birds as my children. Yeah, I love them. They're part of the family.
They're my feathered children. I'll be honest with you. Just like my dog is my fur son, these are, I can, you know, you can point to any pigeon in here and I can tell you its brothers, its sisters, its parents, its aunts, its uncles. That they're my feathered children. They really are. We race on Saturdays unless it's going to be raining, then we'll push the race to Sunday. This will be on the bird's leg, and each band is unique. There isn't another one like it in the world. You cannot race a bird without having one of these on it, and it's registered to the union in my name, so nobody else could fly it but me. Friday night, I bring them to our clubhouse. They're all basketed and registered for the race. Then they're put on a special trailer and truck, and they are transported. All the clubs in the GTA area are transported to the race station, and they'll be up there on Saturday morning, and then the doors open, flaps go down, the whole flock will come tearing out, and then I'll be sitting in my chair there waiting, watching the sky, and waiting for one to drop out of the sky. It's very exciting, for me anyways. Unfortunately, the race isn't over when I see my bird. The race ends when it lands on that trap. If I open this up, put the landing board down, they'll all leave, and they don't have to come back if they don't want to. Right. But they'll all come back.